Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories. And if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. And let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now today's first story comes from DryDirt1426 from the Am I the Arsehole Here subreddit. And it says, am I the arsehole here for calling my husband silly for freaking out that our teenage son has a girlfriend who's in a wheelchair? It starts, my husband James, 37 male, and I, 39 female, have a son Lucas, 13 male, who is a freshman in high school. After the Christmas break, a new girl, Yuki, 14 female, was in his class. I've heard Lucas and his friends talk about how Yuki is the prettiest girl in school. By their talk, I didn't know she was in a wheelchair, just that she's from another country, is super cool and super pretty. After Lucas mentioned he started dating Yuki, I found out she was in a wheelchair when I picked my son up from school. Lucas told his dad and showed what Yuki looked like by showing him her Facebook. My husband seemed okay with it, but later, which just me, my husband, James expressed concern in our son dating a girl in a wheelchair, talking about how our son doesn't know what he's getting himself into and blah blah blah. I called my husband silly and he got mad at me. Am I the arsehole? Unlikely Branch says to OP, my daughter has a significant disability in striking facial differences. When parents tell me they had no idea because their kid only talked about how cool and nice she was, it's pretty heartwarming and a strong indicator the friends are kind, good people. Your son is one of those kind, good people. Be proud. Challenge your husband's perspective on this. Opie says, thank you for telling us. I'm happy to read that. I hope you and your daughter are happy. OK Different says, it's also a sign if there are no indications that your son is into her because of a disability. This is an issue for vision impaired women, where men are attracted to them for their perceived helplessness. Shy Fidelity says not the arsehole, unless he can articulate why he's concerned beyond general anxiety about disability. Yeah, that's silly. Opie says the concern he expressed is mostly about a disability. Alien Overlord says, your son looks straight through the disability and only sees her. Your husband could learn something from that. Comeback says, yeah, her son didn't mention it and only talked about her beauty. Ecstatic Star Stuff says, what a stellar young man. And Crafty Kind says, it just makes me so happy that, in the end, what's really going on here is that there's a 14-year-old girl who's so cute and presumably delightful that these boys are super into her. Oh, and side note, she happens to be a wheelchair user. Your husband can hopefully get over himself with a swiftness. And Opie says, I feel the same way. And it's exactly what the comments are saying, really, isn't it? It was a lovely story and an unnecessarily complicated reaction from the dad. I mean, your son sounds like an amazing young dude. It would be interesting to find out from the husband what exactly is his worries, confronting him and asking what he's saying, like one of the comments saying, challenging his perspective. But anyway, let's just swing back to Lucas here, who seems to be showing more emotional intelligence, if you like, and just general human decency than many adults we see these days. That is something to be proud of. But OP does come in with an update and says there's something I, 39 female, should have brought up in the first post. But in my defense, the people who told me about this only mentioned it to me once, and my husband James, 37 male, didn't even bring it up while explaining to me his concern about our son Lucas, 13 male, dating a girl, Yuki, 14 female, who's in a wheelchair. My husband's younger brother met his wife in high school. According to them, they told each other they loved the other in less than a month after meeting. Even though the majority said I'm not the arsehole, I did agree with those who said I was dismissive of my husband. So yesterday, I wanted to really hear him out. That's when he reminded me the situation about his brother and sister-in-law. How what is going on with our son reminded him of what happened with his brother. I got no information about our son. That when I wasn't in the room, Lucas told my husband that he's in love with Yuki. My husband repeated that our son doesn't know what he's getting himself into. He made points saying that our son barely acknowledging that Yuki uses a wheelchair meant that our son has an immature and unprepared attitude towards Yuki. I let my husband finish. He mentioned how our son is an athlete and Yuki has different interests, like video games and cartoons. My husband said he's worried that our son will morph himself into someone else to impress Yuki. Two of my questions really stumbled my husband. First, when I asked him if he can name anyone else he knows personally, our generation or younger, who married someone they started dating in high school. He couldn't think of anyone else besides his brother. And the question of when he and I met in college, if he would have chased me if I was in a wheelchair. He said he probably would, and he said he got my point. I talked to Lucas separately. He was surprisingly excited to share with me his feelings about Yuki. He told me that he's in love with her, about how she's the coolest, most interesting and prettiest girl he's ever met. He talked about wanting to do something for her for Valentine's Day, but he doesn't know what yet. He mentioned that even though Yuki is fluent in English, he's watching videos to learn basic phrases in her native language. How he's listening to love songs in our native language. How he's learning to love songs in our native language. It might mean her native language. How he's learning about her native country. I only gave him 2 pieces of advice. To avoid promising Yuki anything major. To avoid ending up disappointing her. And that really big grand gestures can make a girl feel overwhelmed. Right now, I'm not too concerned about my son's relationship with Yuki. Back when I was in high school, I had a male best friend who managed to be in love with 5 different girls in just 4 years of high school. As for my husband, I think he's coming around after our conversation last night, so things seem to be okay to me. So it just felt to me that the real concern wasn't about the wheelchair at all. It was about James projecting his brother's super fast whirlwind high school romance onto Lucas and panicking that basically history is going to repeat itself. And I like the way that Opie handled it, the questioning, asking him to name literally anyone else who married their high school sweetheart. And it's like, yeah, come on now. And the question of would you have chased me in a wheelchair hit the spot exactly by the sounds of things. I've seen the saying before, sometimes people just needing a mirror held up to them to realize their concerns don't quite hold water, you know. And as for Lucas, he sounds sweet. He sounds like, you know, what a 13-year-old being in love is actually like. And I think your advice was good to him, you know, just don't make promises that you can't keep and dial back the grand gestures so you don't overwhelm the poor girl. It sounded kind of like it ended nice all around, but maybe you have a different opinion on the matter. Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's move on to another story. Now our next story, it comes from Prudent Extent 1765 from the Am I the Arsehole, Would I Be the Arsehole public subreddit. And it says, am I the arsehole for not wanting to share my birthday with a man I hate? I, 17 female, am turning 18 7 days after this post. I texted my group chat with around 8 people in it to invite them over to my house for an intimate birthday party. It'll be the first time that I've had a birthday party since my sweet 16. Everyone responded with, sounds fun and I'll be there. And I went to bed, but when I woke up, I saw a text from him. I'll call him Bobby. For some background, Bobby is an arsehole. He's a military kid that moved into my town in my junior year, and we have butted heads since day one. Some of my friends met him at church in the summer before junior year started, and the first impression, he seemed cool. But when he met, we almost immediately didn't get along. In casual conversation, I mentioned that I was Catholic, he's Christian, and he proceeded to dog on my religion non-stop, insulting my beliefs and important members of the church for no reason other than to demean me. My friends, however, encouraged us to start over and try to be nice to each other. So I tried. He did not. It's impossible to name all the fights we had, but one prominent one we had for context is from my prom my junior year. I had gotten a Denny's gift card from work and told my friends that I would use it to get a round of pancakes for the group and something for me and my boyfriend at that time after the dance, and if they wanted anything else they'd have to pay for it themselves. Everyone agreed and we went around 1 a.m. When we went to pay, I paid my share with the gift card. Bobby, who had gotten a whole separate meal, realized that he'd been overcharged by about $4 for a milkshake. He immediately blamed me, and here's how the conversation went. Bobby said, "Hey, I was charged an extra $4. I said, "That sucks. You should go talk to the waiter." Bobby says, "No, you need to talk to the waiter." I said, Why would I do that? Bobby replied, because you said you would pay for everyone, but now I'm being charged. You need to go get this figured out or you owe me $4. My friend said, Bobby, this doesn't make sense. Stop blaming her. It's probably a simple mistake. Was blank charged for their milkshake? Was this other person charged for their milkshake? Bobby says no. My friend then says, well, the waiter just charged you for your friends. Has nothing to do with her. Bobby, angrily to me, I'm going to remember this, and then walks out of the restaurant. Now that you have some context about some of the shit that he likes to pull, it makes sense why I don't want to share a birthday with him, and I shouldn't have to. The only reason why I still hang out with him sometimes is because of a few of my friends are still friends with him, and I don't feel like tearing apart my 4-year-long friend group my senior year over one person. Not worth my time. Anyways, he was held back in elementary school, and so instead of turning 18, he's turning 19 in 3 days. He already made plans to go to the movies with friends that day, and he's having a birthday dinner. So while he's not having a party that day, he still made plans for his birthday already. So I texted my friends, and everyone was down to come to my birthday party on the day of my birthday. I go to bed around 9:30. When I woke up at 6, I checked my phone and saw a text in the group chat from Bobby that said, I would be hosting a birthday party right now, by the way. If you'll want to go to OP's instead, I understand, or we could incorporate it in. In shock, I clarified that it was my birthday, and that even if I were to move it, which I would never, I couldn't because I have softball districts and my clinicals for my CNA all in a congested period of time right now. So my birthday is the only day that I could even have my friends over. His reasoning for having his party on that day was because it's in the only day that one of his other friends could make it. My girlies have my back and aren't going to even entertain going to his party. But I'm scared to talk to some of my guy friends because they might choose to go to his party or leave my party early to go to his. I don't want to back down, but I'm tempted to have a girls only party, so I save myself the butthurt of possibly having some of my friends choosing him over me on my birthday. What should I do? So OP responds to some people, and to give additional information, OP responds to multiple comments about stopping hanging out with Bobby, and OP says, I never intentionally hang out with him, and I don't go to the stuff he hosts. I just don't want to start unnecessary drama 1 month before we all graduate and move away anyways. I don't want to split up the group with only 1 month left. A downvoted commenter says, what kind of Catholic thinks they're not Christian? You're the OG Christian, and I'm questioning the validity of this entire post if you're Catholic thought to bring it up in random conversations but not Catholic enough to know you're Christian. OP says, I know I'm a Christian. I should have specified that he is non-denominational. The point still stands that he doesn't respect me by mocking my faith. Commenter says, honestly, who cares if your guy friends go to the guy's party? Your girlfriend said they'd go to yours. Not everyone in your life is going to prioritize you. Everyone has a life that isn't going to center around your wants. Have your party, be happy with those who go, and don't create drama with those who don't. Another commenter says, I hate bullies. All you can do is say, no, not going to combine, but if you want to move yours, feel free, and move on. Let things fall out as they do. If nothing else, your girlies will have a great time with you. If the guy friends can't see the behavior, it's probably better not to have them around anyway. Happy birthday. Enjoy it, no matter what it looks like. With Bobby's attitude already throughout this post, it just feels like he's playing games here, like he knows exactly what he's doing. He's already got birthday plans on his actual day, but suddenly needs to throw up a party on hers because one friend can't make it. Come on now. If I was you, I wouldn't change a thing. You invited people first on your actual birthday when you're available. It's completely reasonable. I'd just be sending that one message back saying, my party is still on this date, I'll see you there. And then, like one of the commenters says, then see what happens. Let people choose. If some guy friends pick his party over yours, you've learned exactly who respects you. And I simply just wouldn't let him stress you any more than he currently is. But OP came in with an update 10 days later and says, so it has been a hectic good week. Basically, I did nothing. I sat back and let things play out. After being talked to by a few of my friends, Bobby backed down and said he'd tried to find a different date, and that was chill. I felt very relieved. However, the night before my birthday, I received a text saying, Would we be able to have a joint party tomorrow night? The only reason I wanted a separate one is because I want to spend time with a friend that's moving before he moves away. But if he'd be able to come, that would be fine. I'm willing to help pay for some of the food too. After about 30 minutes of thinking, I responded with this. I'm not really comfortable having this person over for my birthday tomorrow. This is planned to be a very intimate hangout of not just my friends but my family too. If you want to be with him instead, then I totally understand and support that. I'm sorry that he's moving, but my family and I aren't wanting to change tomorrow's plans, so I'm going to stick with just the people I invited. And he responded with just, okay. So it's the afternoon of, and he texts saying he was inviting a bunch of people over for his birthday party, even though his birthday was over and it was my birthday. And he was going to start his party at 5. And he knew that my party started at 5. And he was going to have like a big swimming pool and shooting thing planned. I immeasurably stress out again because why did he reinstate his plans again? And will the idea of shooting make my friends want to go to his party instead? But instead of responding, I just sit back and let things play out. Long story short, everyone showed up and stayed the whole night. We had tons of fun and no one even mentioned leaving to go to his place. Everyone had the full intention of spending the day with me and my family. Later I look at his Insta story and see that the only people that showed up to his party was his friend that's moving and his girlfriend. It was a very happy ending, for me at least, and I know that my friends are the most loyal. A top commenter says to OP on the back of this one, sometimes it just takes holding your ground and being principled to get a good outcome. I'm glad your birthday went the way you wanted. Commenter says, sounds like you wanted drama and no one was for it. I'm glad you got to have a fun birthday party. Just sit back and let it play out. Sometimes that is the best thing to do, and it worked out really well for OP in this situation. He was clearly playing games in that update, right? But now, what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. Now, our next story comes from the Am I Overreacting subreddit from Frequent Shoulder 158. And it says, Am I overreacting? Found weird pictures in my boyfriend's iPad. I went out of town and my boyfriend stayed home because he had to work. I came back and thought he was acting a bit off, so I checked his pictures on his iPad that synced directly from his phone. In his recent deleted folder, I found a picture of my side of the bed, where my medication, book, and melatonin are. A picture of my desk. A picture of a printed out picture of my brother and I along with a handwritten note that's on the fridge. And a picture of our dresser. We're not planning on moving or selling any of these items either. I'm convinced that he took them so he could remember how everything looked before hiding them because he invited someone over. Am I overreacting? I don't want to say anything about it to him until I get a little clarity. Now, I've got to say from my perspective in this, a bit of an odd one, but the fact that OP went straight to like he's documenting everything so he can have someone over, which felt really specific. I was thinking, is there something underlying here? Because I was like initially confused. I thought, what is he taking those photos for? Is he selling everything on eBay or something? But it kind of just made me feel like, is there more to this story that we don't know already? Has there been some kind of signs in the past that he may be cheating or having someone over before? And I did see a commenter that said similar and said, honestly, wow, I could never come up with that explanation. Are there any signs of someone being there? OP said the only reason I did was because it's all stuff of mine. That's what's weird. Like anything that could be left out somewhere would question if a girl lived there. We just moved into our new place, so at first glance you wouldn't know for sure there was a girl living here or not. Another commenter says, you just need to bring it up casually, out of the blue, and see if he panics and scrambles. Because it is weird and I can't really think of an alternative explanation. That doesn't mean there isn't one. If he's able to answer calmly, immediately, when you ask for the sensible sounding alternative, then fair enough. Pay close attention to both what he says and how he says it. That's my advice. And if he immediately goes for, why were you looking through my stuff before answering the question? Deflection. OP says great advice, thank you. I have a feeling his only answer will be, why were you going through my stuff, unfortunately, but I'm going to bring it up. Commenter says, why did his behavior immediately send you to his pictures? Opie says, I didn't have access to his phone and no messages synced to the iPad, so I just figured I would look at what I could. He was being sneaky with his phone, just acting different overall. Commenter says, he cheated, dump him. Commenter replies saying, you don't know for sure. He should dump her for being a boundary breaker going through his private things. Opie replies saying he's gone through my phone multiple times while I was sleeping, and for no reason, so he opened that can of worms. Even after that, I still never went through his stuff. It was only until I could tell that he was acting differently. Commenter says, this is weird. My boyfriend's acting odd, I know, let me check his deleted pictures. Makes no sense. Pictures are weird, but the fact that you came up with that is insane if nothing like this has ever happened before. I doubt he was hiding all your stuff and taking pictures to remember where it was. He probably knows where most goes already, and if he did put something in the wrong place, he could just easily say, oh, I moved it. I thought it would be better here. Literally anything. Opie says we've had issues with him cheating early on in our relationship. He was displaying similar behavior then as well. I don't have access to his messages, so I looked in his photos. Should I have done it? Probably not, but I did, and just wanted some answers on if I was overreacting about it. Commenter says, well, if he cheated early on, I'd be suspicious too. How long ago is early on? You think if you confronted him, he'd lie. Honestly, don't know what else you could do besides ask him. He could lie, but I'm assuming you know him well enough to know if he's lying. Opie says, like our first year together. We've been dating 6 years, but I also have never gone through his phone or anything since then, so it could have been more recent and I just had no idea. I definitely think he would lie, unless it was something innocent, but I can't find anywhere in my brain that can give me any other explanation. Commenter says, you said he cheated before. What sort of steps were taken to ensure he'd be a safe partner after that? Because an open device policy is usually agreed upon indefinitely. Cheating is a character flaw and requires many years of self-imposed soul-searching and therapy and regaining trust. 5 to 7 years before return to normality. Probably he got to keep his relationship without much inconvenience, and he's at it again because cheaters don't respect their partners in the first place. Cheating is abuse, emotional, psychological, physical, and even spiritual. Don't let him know that you're onto him because you have one chance to gather evidence. Then you have one chance to confront and read him, pretending you know everything while never revealing what you know, nor your sources. Then you leave his ass because he never did the reform which would make him a safe partner. None of this would be happening if it was the case. Listen to your gut because liars only tell you what they think you already know. Unfaithfulness is in the heart first and foremost. Opie responds saying honestly he promised he would change, and I saw that change in him and forgave him. I was very young though, 23, so I didn't really consider all the implications or understand all the reassurance that I needed from him. I'm much older and see things differently for sure, and think I need to reevaluate what's going on. Especially after I figure out this situation. Thank you for this, it is very eye-opening. Commenter says he could have had the boys over. My name friends are savages, just playing devil's advocate. Opie says we just moved to a new state for his job. He doesn't have any friends here locally. Commenter says this whole thing sounds weird. The last thing I would think of if my SO was acting strange is grabbing their iPad to check their photos. And you said he was acting strange. How? I've seen this question asked several times with no answer. We'd all love to know. Opie replies saying he was being very secretive with his phone, taking it with him wherever he went, was only on Instagram every time I could see his screen. There's not been any notifications on his screen ever, of any kind. I sent him something on Instagram yesterday and his phone didn't light up or vibrate. Similar things were also happening when I found out he cheated on me very early on in our relationship. So Opie did come in with an update and said I was not overreacting. I confronted him directly with the photos and asked him why he took them. He immediately said, "Why were you looking through my stuff?" I told him I felt like he's been acting shady, so I decided to look. I asked to go through his phone and he just said, "Why?" I told him that I needed to see it because I don't trust him. He got so weird, saying I didn't need to see it and that I just needed to relax, so I asked yet again. What is up with the pictures? And he literally did not know what to say. Like he couldn't even come up with an explanation that made any sense himself. Then I asked if he brought someone home while I was gone. And he said no, of course, and that I was being ridiculous. I again said that I needed to see his phone for proof of that, and he refused. I debated asking my neighbor for his Ring doorbell footage for the time I was gone and see if there was a girl that went into my apartment, but I'm not even going to waste my time. His reaction was all I needed to know, and I was right. Should I have not gone through his things? Yes, but did I? Yes, and found out he was cheating on me. Also, yes. So thank you to everyone who gave me all of their opinions. I really appreciate it. A commenter says to OP, this will end up being the best thing that ever happened to you. I know that sounds weird wording it that way, but this has allowed you to be free of this relationship and build the life you've always dreamed of. OP replies saying, I totally agree. Things hadn't been feeling right for a while, and I think this was what I needed to finally make the right decision and leave. I don't think he ever stopped cheating. I think he knew I wouldn't ever be able to look through his phone, so he didn't have to really worry. Honestly, I already feel so free. I'm devastated, of course, but in the back of my mind, I knew what it was. Commenter says, good for you, OP. I always say, trust your gut. Sorry you found out that he's a lying arsehole, but now you know, and now you know how to deal with it and get on with life. Best wishes for a happier chapter in the future. OP says, I'm so glad I did. I felt sick to my stomach doing it, to be honest, but there was a reason I felt like I should, and I figured it out. Scary knowing I have to completely start over, but I feel like a weight has been lifted, honestly. Commenter says, wow, what a complete jerk. He couldn't even come clean. You're free and you deserve so much better than that garbage. You are so brave for confronting him and choosing yourself. I hope you have some friends and family to vent to and go and stay with. Please be proud of yourself and don't for even 1 second ever look back or second guess your worth. OP says, I knew he wouldn't. There's no logical explanation that comes with pictures he took, and I knew he wouldn't be able to find one when I asked. I'm never going back. I wasted my best years on him. I will not waste any more. Thank you. And another commenter says, oh honey, I'm sorry you're going through this, but I'm glad you found out now before wasting any more years of your life on him. The best revenge on him and the best thing for you is to live your best life. Be happy while he continues to reap what he sows. This dumpster fire doesn't deserve another moment of your life. Good luck to you. Take care of yourself and find the love you deserve. It's out there. It took me years and a broken heart, but I've spent the last 26 years with a man who healed my heart and showed me what true love really looks like. OP says I agree. I wasted too many already, but I can't go back, so I'll do my best with my future years for sure. It's definitely a lesson learned. That is inspiring. I hope the same will happen for me one day. And one more comment who says, why are you looking at your boyfriend's iPad and phone? Are you a psychologically deranged stalker? Odd. OP says he's literally done the same to me multiple times prior, so I guess we both are. So yeah, in the first part of the story when OP was just randomly went straight to the iPad and was looking at the photos, which a lot of people was calling out because it was just such an odd thing to do immediately, showed there was some hidden context somewhere, which eventually come out that he had cheated in year 1, and then she put up with this for 6 years. He'd gone through her phone while she was sleeping, and you know, it's the typical projection that we do see in these stories. And she continued to see the same sketchy phone behavior that happened in the first cheating incident anyway. OP just recognized the pattern that had been happening in the past. And sure, you know, it's sad that OP wasted 6 years on someone who never stopped what they were doing, but at least she's not wasting year 7, right? The comment in itself that I already feel so free says it all. And, you know, I can only imagine what she was going through, all the worry constantly, is he still doing this, etc., etc. That was clearly there because OP jumped straight to the iPad, etc. So that worry was always there. So I can only imagine how freeing that's going to be for OP going forward. But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being here. Truly is absolutely amazing. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.